Well, here we are, the original four together again on a new adventure. Me, Parvati, Max, and the unbearable smell of saltuna.
What are the chances of all the times and places we could have been born?
Yeah,
We're here, light years from Earth, going about our lives.
every time the punch clock peals, a worker earns his meals.
What are you talking about?
Sorry, I thought you were quoting It's a Wonderful Directorate.
Cool hair.
And the little bastard's slippery, right? On account of its blood, so it's sliding all over the place, trying to crawl away. Getting so I can't tell the blood from the mud. But I gotta get in there, get right in that baby rap's stomach and dig it out. If so much as a drop of stomach acid got on that medallion, shit, I don't know what I'd do. Might be I'd hunt every damn rapt out there. Right. What are you staring? Wait. You ain't from around here. Who are you?
I'm Taylor, pleasure to meet you.
Ooh, charmer. Don't get a lot of that around here. Folks mostly grump at me about how I should join the MSI payroll. Nice change of pace. Buy me a drink, will you?
Sure, another round, bartender.
Outstanding! What are you doing in Stellar Bay, stranger?
I take it you're Nyoka. I'm told you can help me find an information broker.
Well. Let's get down to brass nuts then, shall we? Wait, that ain't it. Brass rats? Let's talk business. I'm headed back out there after I sober up. You want a guide sooner than that? You have to get me something to clear my head.
Maybe that extra drink wasn't such a good idea then. What do you need?
Outstanding! Our dispensary here maintains a stock of, well, I don't rightly know what they are. Steroid or caffeine somethings? Pills. They're very good. I'm cut off for the month, on account of needing one just about every damn day. But I'm sure you've got your wily ways. Fetch me one and we'll be all set.
You mean caffeinoid? That stuff's just a stimulant.
Well, they work. We got a deal or what?
All right, I'll be back.
Well. Isn't often we see new folk in Stellar Bay. First drink's on me, stranger.
Oh, thank you. I'll pass though.
Suit yourself. If you plan on sitting through Nyoka's stories, you might could use a few.
I could use a few and tell it on myself.
Now what can I do for you?
How well do you know Nyoka?
Anyone who spends any amount of time in this bar is bound to get to know Nyoka, on account of her being here so often herself. And I don't mean that unkindly. Anyone who's rid us of as many beasts as you have is entitled to a few drinks. Something else I can do for you?
Why is this place called the Yacht Club?
Thought it had a fancy ring to it. Name's the first advertising anyone sees, after all.
Are there any yachts in Stellar Bay?
Nope. But a man can dream.
You said you're not used to seeing new faces around here.
Not since Amber Heights. These days we have more leaving than coming. Off to join the iconoclasts or some such.
What happened at Amber Heights?
Bunch of marauders broke into the executive compound, slaughtered everyone. Corporations pulled out of Monarch not long after. I thought everyone knew. But then that was 10 years ago. Still feels fresh to us every time we look at our walls, though.
All right, well, I'll see you around. Not really my style. Is this self-playing?
New face, huh? You from Off-World?
Yep, Captain Taylor of the Unreliable.
A ship captain? Well, I'll be. Here, let me buy you a drink. Consider it an MSI welcome. Why don't you grab a chair, sit a spell and revel with us?
By the smell, he's been reveling enough for you both already.
What are you celebrating?
Me and my friends have taken our destiny into our own hands. We're untethered, free of responsibility and worldly cares. Well, as long as we don't run out of bits. But until the windfall's gone, we're riding high. See, we just walked out on our work. Had enough, we did. So now we're striking.
What could be so bad it made you walk off the job?
It ain't any one thing but the sum of it all, having to work longer shifts for less bits. And the wages we do earn don't cover as much as they used to. Our supervisor, Velma, goes on and on about quarterly profits and meeting quotas. But that ain't what Sanjar promised us. Velma refuses to negotiate, so we're refusing to work. We won't go back until she agrees to pay us fair and proper. Us on Monarch, we're free from the board, you know? We have the right to lobby for better hours and pay.
I happen to be pretty good with negotiations.
I wouldn't doubt it. You look like the type who tends to come out on top. Not like us cogs, trying to be the squeaky wheel but just getting deadlocked. It's been days, but Velma won't even hear us out. Maybe you could just make her listen to our demands.
Sure, I'll mediate on your behalf.
You would do that? We sure are lucky you decided to come up to the patio today. I knew drinking up here would be good for more than the view.
So about this Velma,
Sure thing. What did you want to discuss?
how long can you afford to miss work?
Not forever, but we've each saved up our bits, and I stashed them safe in my home by the diner. I reckon we could last a week or two at least.
Probably shouldn't tell strangers where you stash your bits, mate. Any suggestions for how to put pressure on Velma to negotiate?
If I knew that, I'd have tried it. Talking reasonably got me nowhere. Maybe you'll fare better. The others wanted to blackmail her, but we're above that. Besides, them are just rumors. We got no proof they're true.
What's this about blackmail now?
I would never endorse such an untoward tactic, you know, but, well, there's rumors that Velma's taking a cut off the profits. So far, it's just gossip, you know, but if there was any proof to be had, it'd be in the Saltuna warehouse, I reckon.
Okay then, I'll talk to you later. Cool scythe. I guess this is where I'll find the town boss. I'll go there a little later.
You're probably looking for Velma. Watch out. She's in a mood.
Okay. This terminal is only to be used for official work on behalf of Monarch Stellar Industries. Ballard v. Velma, I assume. Velma's personal files are a morass of supply contracts, order forms, spreadsheets, and financial records. Careful study of her financials reveals that for the past several years she has been slowly siphoning money from her operating budget into a personal account. The theft is cleverly hidden. Individual instances could be excused as rounding errors or mistakes in simple arithmetic. The sheer volume of occurrences, however, indicates deliberate intent. To be hecked. Braxton, the fish in tank 23A are looking a little lumpy. If you're not going to make it in, that's fine, but you have to let me know so I can stay on top of the doses. To S. Nandi. Mr. Nandi, we really need to talk about the Saltuna situation. I've had to let 4 batches rot in the warehouse over the last 2 months because we're not finding buyers. I know the situation with the board puts us in a tough spot, but we need to start thinking about how we're going to keep Stellar Bay afloat if we can't get sales up. To be hecked. Brax, seriously, where are you? You've missed 3 shifts. This is getting ridiculous, even for you. I'm not sure Velma is here at the moment.
Velma seem out of sorts to you?
She's always cranky.
No, I mean, more than usual.
Could I get another advance, Mr. Nandi?
Just make sure it's properly logged.
I'll note it next to the others, sir.
Well, new business turns up at last. Celia, didn't I tell you our new statistics-based advertising model would be a hit?
That you did, sir.
How can yield improvements of 26.7% not quicken the pulse? How can 32% cost savings not moisten the loins?
Gross.
You've often posed these very questions.
Clear my schedule. This newcomer has a meeting with me.
That's very generous of you.
Celia, will you make a note of that for my self-review? Very generous.
Noted.
But not so generous I can't drive a good bargain. Now, who sent you? Rizzo's, perhaps? Or Auntie Cleo herself?
Me, I'm charting my own path, going where the wind takes me.
What a charming notion. One doesn't meet many free spirits in Alcyon. Not outside Tartarus prison, anyway. Forgive me, I'd be positively enraptured. Only I take it this means you aren't here for Saltuna.
Afraid not.
Oh, a shame. I'd been saving a bottle of iceberg-aged whiskey for an occasion like this.
Seems like you're having a rough time, Mr. Sanjar. Are you doing quite all right?
Oh, don't worry on my account. This is merely the latest in a long line of professional, erotic, and athletic disappointments. I had hoped that livening up our advertisements with enticing figures would draw the other corporations back to our bosom, but it seems we're back to the drawing board.
What exactly are you hoping to accomplish?
Thanks to the so-called hazard clause, Monarch has been cut off from the board's resources and protection for 10 years now. Now, we've kept ourselves in business by trading with individual corporations, but given the off-the-books nature of those transactions, such arrangements are precarious.
And you're tired of scrounging and scraping by, is that it?
Yes, freedom is a tempting ideal, but a rather costly paramour.
Exactly. Intellectualism fuels the train to mankind's future, but the tracks the train runs on are forged from practicality.
Mr. Vicar, I don't want to be rude, but I don't think that means anything.
Yes, it's as though the good vicar has plucked the very words from my brain.
I mean, it kinda made sense. So what do you mean to do about it?
Well, Mr. Nandi here has a rather ingenious plan to get MSI restored to the board.
On our terms, mind you.
But will that help the people here, Mr. Sanjar? Keep them fed and safe?
That's precisely what I'm trying to do.
And if our advertising scheme hasn't borne fruit, then perhaps it's time we took matters into our own hands.
This lady knows what's going on.
It's true, our Celia is an alarmingly competent middle manager. At any other company, she'd be wasted in data entry. The plan she refers to is a two-pronged approach, and the first part involves seeing Stellar Bay properly defended.
How long did it take you to figure that you need to defend your city?
Not long, but the devil is always in the details. And the salient detail here is a Bolt 52 cartridge. If you can get us what we need to rejoin the board, starting the Bolt 52, we'll be able to become one of the most productive and secure cities in Halcyon.
And you'll have a powerful ally on the board.
That could actually be very useful. This Bolt 52 sounds useful. What is it?
Why, one of the strongest defenses in Halcyon. An extremely powerful ordnance.
Where do I find one?
In the old arms building southwest of town, which used to be part of Stellar Bay before we had to move our walls in. These days it's overrun with marauders and raptidons.
Why are you saying it that way?
Saying what? Which way?
Arms. You're saying arms instead of arms?
That's just what it's called. It's supposed to stand for something, but I forget what.
What the hell was I just asking? I'm sure I'll know it when I find it.
Oh, and while you're at it, there should be a terminal in the arms building with some dangerous information. Perhaps you could delete it so it doesn't fall into the wrong hands.
Okay. Before I go, I need to ask you about something.
What can I do for you?
I met Grim, the landing pad guard.
I see. And was his delivery of the MSI authorized greeting up to snuff?
He did a bang-up job.
Well, that's excellent. I'll see that your feedback makes it into his review. What else can I do for you?
I have questions about MSI and the good old days.
Then it's good that I keep such meticulous notes.
How did MSI get kicked off the board in the first place?
I've asked myself the same thing many times, especially seeing as the legal mechanisms we employed were part of the board's own bylaws.
You're getting ahead of yourself again.
You see what I have to deal with?
For many years, this planet was home to as many corporations as Terra 2. But back then, it was known as Terra 1.
You mean Monarch was known as Terra 1? Or Terra 2 was? What happened to the other corporations?
As you may have noticed, this planet has more than its share of hazards. And as the other corporations began to tally their losses, they decided to pull out.
But not MSI, right?
Our leadership at the time certainly wanted to.
And how did that work out?
Most regard Monarch as a lost cause. But there were others of us who saw an opportunity. The chance to improve working hours and conditions, to reform MSI from the ground up.
How forward-thinking of you.
It's humane, but it's also good business sense. Exhausted, sick, and malnourished workers are not productive workers. Even a cursory review of the data bears that out.
I hope you'd treat them nice, whether it was good business or not, Mr. Sanjar. That's what being a community means. Treating people right, because it's the right thing to do.
Ms. Holcomb is our endlessly optimistic crew hand. It's good for the captain's morale.
A noble thought, Miss Holcomb. Unfortunately, noble thoughts rarely sway board policy. Anyway, we learned of a loophole in the corporate bylaws that would allow MSI to claim ownership of the entire planet once the other corporations pulled out, creating the perfect environment for us to enact these new reforms.
Using the board's own tools against them then. Clever.
That's what I thought. But the senior executives laughed in our faces and insisted we'd be relocating to Terra 2 along with everyone else.
Guess you missed the transport.
Many of us chose to stay behind. And as the most senior executive remaining, I ended up in charge of what was left of MSI. I moved forward with our planned reforms as well as our strategy to assume ownership of the planet. Yet not long after I renamed it Monarch, the other corporations dislodged us from the board and began an official campaign to paint us as lawless savages.
Okay, so you renamed it from Terra 1 to Monarch, gotcha. You should have known you couldn't oppose them.
But we weren't trying to. Everything we did was legal and above board. We followed their rules, and yet they still found reasons to declare us outlaws. I do think there's something useful in a governing body like the board. Something that keeps us from anarchy, but I dearly wish it functioned differently.
I can agree with that. Why exactly do you want back on the board?
Why wouldn't anyone? They own nearly all the resources and infrastructure in Halcyon.
Without the board, chaos would overtake the system. Working within the established order isn't a principle to snub one's nose at, Captain.
To be on the board is to be part of the colonial community, and being cut off means slow strangulation.
I can't fault you for your practicality.
Indeed, we've got to consider realities, not ideals. If membership on the board can ease our hardships and provide us with opportunities, then that's the path I mean to pursue. Besides, I'm hopeful that additional leverage on our part will allow us a more equitable relationship.
Leverage?
Don't get ahead of yourself, sir.
Yes, it'll be easier to explain once we have the Bolt 52. My hope is to maintain the reforms we've managed here, and who knows? Perhaps once we're restored, we could spread them to other corporations.
Are you gonna blow up their blockade? What's the hazard clause?
It's a legal provision that gives the board the authority to cordon off any planet or location that it deems dangerous.
A necessary evil for the greater good of society.
That's exactly how the board describes it.
Seems like a sensible restriction, actually.
I'm all for reasonable regulations, but the board hasn't demonstrated the kind of peril that justifies cordoning off an entire planet. Much as I hate to say it, the board's leadership can be incredibly short-sighted at times.
I'd like to ask about something else.
What can I do for you?
I'm looking for an information broker.
Hiram? Why, he's probably still out at Devil's Peak. Not that he's had the courtesy to notify me, at any rate.
How do I get to Devil's Peak?
You'd head south along the road and look for a mountain to the west. Not that I'd advise it. It's a terribly dangerous trek. But if you insist on going, I'd recommend taking a local guide. Nyoka would be a prime candidate.
If you can keep her sober.
All right, thanks for the talk, guys.
Greetings, and welcome to Monarch Stellar Industries, producers and purveyors of the finest salt tuna in Halcyon. What can I do for you today?
Grim asked me to check with you about his tossball poster.
You know, sending you is the first bright idea I've seen from that man, because I told him to stop bothering me about it a week ago. I still don't know anything about it, but if you want to help him, Velma's the one to ask. She's in the warehouse. But I'll warn you, Grim wore her patience thin a long time ago.
Earlier, I overheard you say you were having money trouble.
Or is he not paying you on account of how he tried to fix the thing his own self and busted it even worse, and then said you wasn't fixing it fast enough, so he's docking your wages again? Not that I got any prior experience with such.
Not at all. Mr. Nandi treats us all right and pays us well. I just spent most of my paycheck on Raptidon acid.
Do you normally blow your money on Raptidon parts?
Laws, no. Sometimes it's canid teeth, or mantis worm wings. Whatever Sebastian has in stock, really.
Why are you buying so much from Sebastian?
So I can talk to him, of course. He doesn't get going about much else.
I reckon she's got a little bit of a squish on this fella.
He's sort of the strong, silent type. Unfortunately, my apartment's kind of filling up with his stuff, and some of the neighbors are complaining about the smell.
Just ask him on a date.
I couldn't. What if he says no? Hey, maybe you could ask him for me. I mean, a no would still be bad, but it won't be quite as embarrassing if you ask. Oh, Mr. Nandi's doing that thing where he breathes through his nose real slowly. I'd better get back to work.
Wait, I'm curious. What do you see in Sebastian?
He doesn't talk much, but he's got this quiet intensity, you know? Like there's stuff going on inside his head that you have no idea about. Plus, he's got great legs. It's hard to find a man who doesn't skimp on lower body exercises.
You really want to be with someone you can't talk to?
You think that's what I'm looking for? You're funny.
That's all I need to know.
Sorry, sometimes I get carried away.
Sunja doesn't seem so bad. These guys could be really good allies if we get them on the board.
Smells like rat in here.
Oh, it does work. I brought some muffins about.
Oh, there's Velma.
Look, you can tell Catherine the new shipment will be ready when it's ready, all right? She's welcome to come up here and pack boxes herself if she's in such a hurry.
What are you talking about, Catherine?
Sorry, seems I got my cables crossed. Thought you were another shakedown tough from Fallbrook. Hope you can forgive my temper. This job has been running me ragged lately. First, my autoloader foreman stages a walkout, and now my chief pescatological health manager is missing.
Your chief what?
Braxton. He's in charge of getting the fish fat, but also making sure they don't get too many tumors. He's a real wizard with pharmaceuticals, but he has creative notions of working hours. Comes with living in a free colony, I guess.
Don't you have rules about that sort of thing?
We're not keen on rules for rules' sake around here. Means Braxton skips work sometimes, but it also means no company boss is telling me when I can take a shit. Since you don't seem to be constrained yourself, maybe you could check up on him. He lives in the apartments. Tell him Velma said to get his lazy ass down here, or she might start noticing those extra jugs he's been taking from supply. Something else on your mind?
I'd like to ask about Grimm's poster.
This again? I swear, this is the last time I contract for any special requests. You can tell Grimm his poster came in. You can also tell him I got a better offer for it. So now it's going to Nell. That about cover it?
Who's Nell?
She runs the betting parlor across the way. Nice professional lady. She asked me about the poster once. Just once. Made a real generous offer, too.
So it's about the money?
Damn right it is.
You're just giving Grimm's poster away? Didn't he pay for it?
No. I paid Sublight for it. So it's mine. And when Nell pays me for it, it'll be hers. Grimm may have asked for the poster, but it's not his until I take his money.
Surely we can work something out.
Sure can. If you want to pay me more than Nell's offering.
Work with me. I'm helping you find Braxton, aren't I?
Sure. And once you finish helping me, then we can talk about the poster.
Let's talk about something else.
Fine by me.
Let's talk about Caleb.
Unless you're here to tell me he's agreed to do his job again, I've got nothing to say.
Caleb says they need a raise to keep up with prices around here.
Tell him to complain to Catherine in Fallbrook, not me. Sublight's demanding more money for the same contracts, which means we're all in the same boat.
They're hard workers, aren't they? Don't they deserve some compensation for that?
Hard workers? They turn dials and flip switches. The machines do all the actual work.
I'll wager she don't pay those folks that maintain the mechanicals decent neither.
Caleb and his crew have it better than anyone else around here, I'll tell you that much. If Caleb wants to keep this job, he'd better get back to it. I'm about ready to hire sublight contractors at this rate.
I saw your accounts. You've been skimming money for years. You can afford to pay more.
Yeah, and did you miss the part where I'm working doubles to cover for everyone who decides not to show?
Ironic, isn't it?
I'm the one who keeps this place running. That money's mine, one way or another.
That sounds remarkably like Caleb's argument.
Fine. Tell Caleb he and his team can have their raise, but I need them back here immediately.
Awesome. You said Braxton had been stealing drugs.
Stealing's such a nasty word. Let's call it skimming. And yeah, let's just say I've noticed the sterile biotics we use for the fish would get used a little faster on Braxton's shifts.
Why didn't you turn him in?
We're not like those corporate towns where you get fined for sleeping on the wrong side of the bed. Besides, the Spacer's Choice stuff we use is cheap enough. And Braxton knows how to get this all tuna, fat, and mostly tumor-free.
Who's this Catherine you mentioned when I first came in here?
Sublight boss out of Fallbrook. Handles most goods that come in or out of Stellar Bay. Has a mouth like a Ground 6 Spacer.
Okay, talk to you later.
Plenty of work to do, especially with so many no-shows.
Why don't you grab a chair, sit a spell, and revel with us?
So I talked to Velma.
Got an update for us? We can't afford to sit this out for too much longer. Know what I mean?
You've got your pay rise.
How'd you manage that? Wait, never mind. If I question it, it'll turn out not to be true. Besides, I never follow how you got Velma to part ways with a bit card of her own accord. As agreed, here's your compensation. Ain't a lot, but I hope it shows how much we appreciate all you've done. Now me and my friends here better get back to work before Velma blows a fuse.
This is the betting shop.
Ooh, you're the new face. Wow, you must be up on all the latest tossball games. So who do you follow? Wait, don't tell me. You look like a Hammersmith Thunder fan. No, Glacial H Mammoths.
I'm not here to chat about teams.
That's a shame. Tossball's just about the only good news we get around here. When our frequency's not too clogged up anyway. So, what can I do for you?
Oh, sorry, I was just staring at your eyebrows. Velma tells me you outbid Grimm for a signed tossball poster.
Signed by the Black Hole himself. There's no way I could pass that up. Why, did you want to see it? I don't have it yet. I'm waiting on a few customers to pay up before I can give Velma the bits.
Could I trade you for it?
I don't know. This isn't just some poster. It's a genuine tossball artifact. The Black Hole doesn't even sign things anymore. He just puts a stamp on them. Of course, the only reason I asked Velma about it in the first place was because those Sublight fellas lost my shipment of official tossball jerseys. I was gonna line the walls with them. They're the new ones, now with authentic game time aroma.
What? Authentic? As in the players actually sweat in them?
Of course not. No, authentic means close enough to be the real thing, but not actually the real thing. Everyone knows that. Anyway, I guess they tried to take a shortcut around Amber Heights and ran into some trouble. Can't blame them for trying. Those iconoclasts never shut up. But they lost a bunch of cargo, including my jerseys. If you could get those for me, I might let Grimm have that poster.
Yeah, okay, I'll see what I can do.
Thanks. Don't put yourself in danger on my account, though. That poster will be a fine substitute. What can I do for you?
I didn't really want to take the poster from you. You outbid Grimm fair and square. But if I can trade the jerseys for it, then yeah, everybody wins. You said you were having trouble receiving the tossball game transmissions?
Graham's always filling the airwaves with this propaganda. Like it's done him any good. All it means is the tossball games get to us in fragments. Makes them real hard to watch.
That's all for now. Okay, so maybe we can talk to Graham as well, see what this propaganda is. Graham. 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 That's 2 syllables.